Ngayon pong linggo ay pinasa po ng Kongreso yung pong bibigay po ng kapangyarihan sa atin pong Pangulo na suspindihin, bawasan, tanggalin yung pong excise taxes sa produktong petrolyo. No? Ito po ay historic, unprecedented, hindi po nagawa kahit nung nagdaan. Kasi nung pong nagdaan, meron pa hong 3 buwang palugit para po magtanggal po at magsuspinde na excise taxes sa produktong petrolyo. Pero dahil tanaw po ng Kongreso at ng Pangulo ang napakahalagang intervention dito po sa presyo ng produktong petrolyo na ipasa na po sa Kongreso. Ito pong panukala na masuspindi ang excise taxes pagka po nag-declare ang Pangulo ng Pilipinas ng state of national emergency. So, as soon as mailabas na po ito, maipasa sa Kongreso, and hopefully sa Senado within the next few days at mapirmahan na po ng Pangulo ng Pilipinas, hopefully mag-take effect na po ito at magbenepisyo ang ating po mga kababayan. So, as big as 10 pesos per liter, yung po pwedeng ma-shave off sa presyo po ng produktong petrolyo pagka po nasuspindi yung po excise taxes. So, malaking bagay po ito, and hopefully within the next 2 weeks ay makapagbenepisyo na po at makinabang na po ang ating po mga kababayan dito po sa intervention po na ito.
Kung baka naman pag sinuspindi yung excise tax, wala nang maipamigay, na-AX yung DSWD.
Well, kailangan ho nating, totoo yan, kailangan nating sumalubong doon sa concerns po. May mga ilang senador, yan po yung binabanggit. Pero very important ho yung pagbalanse ng revenue at ano ho ba yung demands at aktual na pangangailangan ng mga kababayan natin sa kasalukuyan. Ang pinakamahalagang concern ng atin pong mga kababayan today ay yung pong usapin po ng pagbaba ng presyo ng produktong petrolyo given inflated global prices. No? So, if it is something that can be undertaken in the soonest time, government will do it, and government is doing it today. No? So, yung pong usapin naman ho ng revenues, it will come, yung pong hindi naman ho galing sa excess taxes lang ang revenues po ng pamahalaan, meron pa ho itong ibang pagkukunan, and more importantly, yung pong more efficient tax collection is something that we ought to undertake as we move along the process po of suspending excise taxes.
Okay. Kung may pangamba yung ilan na maaaring magkaroon ito ng killer provisions, o sige, ibababa, alisin ng excise tax, kung 3 months na mag-a-average na ganito, kailan pa po yun? So, sabi nyo nga, parang ang kailangang ibaba ay now. Pero kung may 3-month rule pa, tapos dun sa ika-3 linggo, no ika-3 buwan, biglang bumaba sa $80, ang di uulit na naman ng another 3 months ang bilang. Hindi ko kaya parang, to some extent, mag-create tayo ng false hope sa ating mga kababayan or moving target.
To be clear, what makes today's intervention different is that as soon as the President declares a state of national emergency relating to petroleum prices, we don't have to wait for the 3 months to do an average. So pagka inflated po yung prices, more than $80 per barrel, and there is a declaration of a state of emergency, immediately implementable po ito. We don't have to wait 3 months for this particular suspension of excess taxes to in fact be implemented.
Meron po kaming narinig ng mga panukalang, kinocomplicate yung simpleng bagay. Hindi, dapat yun daw mayayaman, kasi yayaman lang yan. Huwag bawasan daw yung excise tax sa kanila. Hindi ko po alam kung merong pamamaraan kung paano paghiwalay yung sa gasolinahan, the so-called rich and the so-called poor.
Alam po ninyo, laging debate ho yan In fact, even in previous administrations, lagi ho naman tumataas po beyond $80 per barrel po yung presyo po ng produktong petrolyo. At yan ho yung lagi binabanggit, more particularly po ng mga ekonomista. And I think, yan pong bagay na yan is something that is already answered by government and by Congress na ang totoo naman ho, this crisis on the prices of oil is confronted by the entire strata of economic sectors. So, ibig sabihin, hindi lang naman ho mga mahihirap yung nahihirapan dito. Kahit po yung mapagitnang uri middle class ay nahihirapan po sa bagay na ito. And what is most important today is for us to be able to provide immediate economic relief to our countrymen. And if it is something that can be implemented through the suspension of excise taxes, we will do it. No? Kasi, yung pong, for example, ngayon, magkano na ho yung presyo po ng gasolina at diesel? 80 na ho yan. By next week, 90 na ho yan eh. In the next 2 weeks, for as long as the crisis persists, papalo ho yan ng 100. So, yung pong pagbagsak ng presyo because of the suspension, pagbalik to 90, pagbalik to 80, tingin ko malaki pong benepisyo yan across economic sectors, not just for transport, but yung kabuuan po ng ekonomiya po na nakabatay doon po sa presyo ng produktong petrolyo.
So it's almost sure na ma-approve itong suspension ng excise taxes.
Tingin ko po, I think it's just a matter of time. So, certified urgent po ng Pangulo ng Pilipinas ang suspension po ng excise taxes. So, almost finished na po at the level of Congress. Ito pong proseso na ito. So, pag naipasa po ito, hopefully by next week, maipasa po sa Senado by the end of next week din po.
Saan? O, sige. Puntahan natin yung impeachment case against VP Sara. Ano yung development sa Committee on Justice? At what can the public expect from the 60-day na period na nagde-deliberate ang Committee on Justice?
Well, siguro, bago natin pasukin yung proseso, no? Very important po na maglinaw doon sa remarks ni Vice President Sara Duterte na una, imbis ho na dapat yung krisis sa langis, yung pong kinakaharap ng Kongreso at ng gobyerno pong ito, ay yung impeachment daw po ng pangalawang Pangulo ang inaatupag ng Kongreso at ng pamahalaan. Katulad ng binanggit ko kanina, hindi po yung totoo. Kaya ho nga mag-undertake na economic relief at accountability measures na Kongreso all at the same time. So, ibig sabihin, in the same week, economic relief through the suspension of excise taxes on petroleum products, tumatakbo po yung proseso ng pong impeachment ng ating pong pangalawang Pangulo. No? So, at the moment, inaantay po ng House Committee on Justice yun pong answer ng pangalawang Pangulo. So, I think she has until this weekend and until Monday to submit her answer to the House Committee on Justice. So, antayin po namin yon at the end of office hours no, ng Lunes. And then we will have to decide kung ano po yung next step. So, in the event that the Vice President submits her answer, yung pong endorsers complainants will be given an opportunity to reply and the Vice President will be given an opportunity to do a rejoinder. No? So, yung pong determination of sufficiency in grounds will be taken up and hearing proper will proceed, I think, around April 8th, if that is the timeline, in the event that the Vice President responds. No? In the event po that she does not respond by Monday, the process will be shortened, abbreviated. So, ibig sabihin, no, I think as early as the final weeks of this month, pwede po nga mag-proceed na po to a determination of sufficiency in grounds and we can proceed to yung hearing proper na po.
So hindi na aabot ng 10 days yung time given to VP to respond?
Matatapos na po yung 10 days by this weekend. So our expectation that she will respond and she will Sunday kasi wala naman na pong pasok po yung Kongreso ngayon pong weekend. So hopefully by Monday, the answer will be submitted to Congress, no, to the House Committee on Justice. Very important din po before proceeding to clarify po on the remarks also of the Vice President that Congress is undertaking a fishing expedition relating to her impeachment. Hindi rin po ito totoo. Kasi a fishing expedition presupposes an absolute absence of documentation before proceeding with any impeachment. Hindi po ito totoo. No? So, sa totoo lang, even if we don't undertake subpoenas, the impeachment proceeding against the Vice President will in fact proceed. It is essentially complete. Kasi what do we have today? We have the COA reports on confidential funds. We have the video recording of the threat against the President, the First Lady, and the former House Speaker. We have copies of the SALN of the Vice President. We have the affidavit of Mr. Madriaga relating to his role as a bagman of the Vice President. So, ibig sabihin, ito po pinapasabpina ng mga House members ay bahagi lang po ng pagdadagdag ng mga dokumento. And more importantly, yung po mga hinihingi, bank accounts, anti-money laundering council reports, ito po ay mga bagay that can only be requested for in the course of impeachment proceedings. Kasi po, these are within the exceptions of the bank secrecy law. So, ibig sabihin, the complainant's endorsers actually won't be able to get copies of these confidential documents without actual impeachment proceedings commencing. So, talagang tama lang po yung timing na dito po ilulunsad ito pong mga subpoenas na ito. And more importantly, at ito po yung hindi binanggit ni Congressman Jokno sa kanya pong motion for subpoena and to secure Mr. Madriaga, we will not just be doing a subpoena on the SALNs and bank transactions of Vice President Duterte and Attorney Manscarpio. We will also undertake subpoenas on the income tax returns of the couple, income tax returns, VAT returns, and SEC registration, all the businesses that had been listed in the SALN of the Vice President for 2023 and 2024. Nito pong requesting po of these documents. Again, of 18 million in 2011, SALN was around 7 million. The 2024 SALN was 88 million net worth. No? The cumulative salary of the Vice President from 2007 to 2024 would amount to around 30 to 40 million in total from 07 to 24. So, what needs to be explained by the Vice President is the gap between 30 to 40 million and the 88 million net worth that has been submitted in 2024. So, saan po yun mapapaliwanag? Maipapaliwanag po ito doon sa sinasabi po nilang other lawful income, which was taken from what? From law practice and from yung po mga business interests that had been listed in that SALN. So, ibig sabihin, yung 50 million po should be produced by these business interests, by these professional interests. No? And from our computations po, ang dapat ho nating makita dito, in the course of proceedings, a revenue over 17 years of around 200 million to 400 million para mailuwal po natin yung 50 million na gap between yung pong 30 to 40 million cumulative salary and yung pong 88 million na net worth in 2024.
Kung balikan ko lang yan, ano, pag kailangan ba ipaliwanag yung 50 million na gap, hindi siya pwedeng gumawa ng corrective measure. Kasi tinanong ko yan, kasi naalala ko yung kaso ng dating Chief Justice, Sereno, erroneous submission ng kanyang SALN, and she was kicked out.
Ibang bagay yung correction, ano? Ibig sabihin, kasi yung mere correction, for example, you did not disclose it into your SALN. Siyempre, ibang bagay yan kasi SALN should actually reflect yung pong accurate picture ng iyong wealth. Hindi ba? Pero, mas mabigat po kasi yung difficulty to explain the gap between yung cumulative salary and yung po actual stated net worth. No? Kasi, ano ho yun meron hong presumption, may prima facie showing po ng unexplained wealth. Hindi ba? Pagka that gap is actually not explained. So, the proceedings in the impeachment will in fact provide the opportunity to the Vice President to actually explain that particular 50 million gap.
Kung, as a lawyer that you are, wala siyang isinumiting explanation. Walang documentation kung saan nagmula yung gap na 50 million pesos. Hindi ho ba kung ano man ang idaragdag niyang papeles, mahuhulog yun doon sa kategorya ng correction? Hindi siya nagpaliwanag yun eh. So, technically, sa mata ng logic, wala. Walang paliwanag, walang documentation. Kung naglagay doon, hindi ba papasok sa salitang correction?
Well, ibigay ho natin sa kanya po yung benefit of the doubt, no? Kasi, syempre, ultimately, if it's something that can in fact be explained by three things, no? The SEC documents of the businesses and the law office. Second, yung pong ITRs and VAT payments. Basically, to show the revenue, di ma-explain ho nila yung gap, no? Pero, yung baka hindi ho nila ma-explain doon, yung pong hindi ho nabanggit na ilang bahagi o sa ilang mga particular na mga taon.
Kung sino mag-explain, assuming na ayaw magpunta ng pangalawang Pangulo o magpunta man doon, kagaya nung pag-upo niya sa harap ng komite ng Kongreso ng mga nakalipas sa panahon, ayaw sumagot sa katanungan. Kung ganong ayaw sumagot, magpaliwanag o ayaw pumunta, pwede bang magpaliwanag ang kanyang abogado o hindi?
Hindi po. Hindi po pwede pong mga abogado. But, for example, just to answer, before answering on the counsel question, yung pong pwede magpaliwanag on ITR and VAT payments ay yung pong BIR. Kasi